Getting close to end of day at Forge of Memory here, and Cheyenne, right there, is working on a copper knife. So this is the blade that she was forging yesterday, and what she's doing now, she's fitting that into a deer leg bone handle. And she had to modify her tang a little bit. So what would you call this? Functional art?
Yeah.
All right, so show us what you're working on here.
I am currently bending my tang to flow with the bone.
Okay. And the bone you're using, tell us about that.
Dyed and stabilized deer leg bone.
Cool.
I don't want to cut my tang down, so I'm actually bending the tang to where it flows with the bone.
There you go. So what are you going to be, what's your next step?
Well, after I get this, I'm seeing right there, trying to figure out where the friction point is. Which I see it's actually the tang. I need to grind a little corner up here. Because with bone, you don't want to force it, or it'll crack your material.
Very cool.
But I need to grind right there.
Right. So if you haven't subscribed yet, this is a great opportunity to do so. Cheyenne is working on a dyed and stabilized weathered deer bone handle, and she's adjusting the tang of her copper blade she forged yesterday on live.
There we go.
Klaus, how's it going? Joseph, how's it going? Okay, so she's looking, finding the caliper. So you're checking for consistency and taper?
Yes. Now I'm going to go grab a pencil and we'll be right back.
All right. While she's doing that, I'm going to jump over and start working on my Bowie knife. You guys probably want to watch her work. Here you go. Okay, Cheyenne, they're watching you work.
Okay. Right there on my keyboard.
So what are you using for your bolster?
I am using reconstituted stone, which is pulverized stone that has been, I did not make this. This is actually the only part of this blade I did not make was the bolster material. So while I am going to go use my little doohickey, I'm going to turn you guys to Dustin so that you can watch him. Dustin, you're alive.
All right. Cleaning up the pommel on that piece. It's the handle looks small. It's not bad. It's just the balance is good. It's just a big blade. All right, now going to a surface conditioner. And some of this, majority of this is probably going to be slack grinding or finishing. Pretty happy with that. I'm going to clean up that pewter pommel right there. Probably try to get my get a maker's mark on, I guess, this side, because this side is all that kind of fish scale looking rasp. Yep, Jim, she put that camera on the wrong side. What I'm going to do real quick, I'm going to sharpen this. Here's a 220. And I've got my grind down decent on this, so I'm just going to go through. Let me turn this around. This way I can see you guys. So I'm going to be doing a top slack grind here. Pretty good. I'm liking it. Definitely liking that plate, guys. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and take the burr off of this, and so probably has a sharper edge than what it needs to for a knife this size. Right. All right. Let's go ahead and mark this real quick. And then I'll oil the handle. We'll let it set for a while. Cheyenne should just about be done with her project. Maybe not done with it, but getting close. DRFW. It's backwards in the selfie cam, but it's coming along. Now Cheyenne's working on her copper knife. I know she was in the back and working on what sounded like probably using a rotary tool. And we'll be going back to her just shortly. Got lots of dust on myself. What I have here, this gravy boat, is not gravy. It's something even better. And that is a mixture of linseed oil, boiled linseed oil, and mineral spirits. And you see that cool purple handle? That mixture right there just makes this come to life. It really does. And I'm going to let that sit and soak. And then get back to Cheyenne. Everybody, here is Cheyenne working on her blade some more.
You have that really zoomed in, don't you?
Pretty much.
You put can't see what you're doing anyways.
All right. So here we go. There's that purple heartwood handle finished out. Farrier's rasp blade. Hot fit mild steel guard. And the next one's coming up. This one, I'm going to have to go take pictures of and get it up on auction. Because it's Friday night and I want your paycheck. All right. Going back to Cheyenne. Now Cheyenne is doing some handwork on this bolster. Now she doesn't actually have it clamped to the vise. She's just using it for support, basically. Doing a dry fit because you don't want to force it on that reconstituted stone, just as you wouldn't want to on natural stone. The fire in the forge right now, you may say, hey, that's a pretty small fire. That's actually an oiled rag or paper towel that I was using.
We do controlled burns.
Yeah, we do not allow stuff like that around the shop because there's always horror stories about spontaneous combustion. So, Cheyenne is working on her piece right there. If you have any questions, comments, feel free to post those. And
we're not gatekeepers of this. If you have a true question, we'll be honest with you.
And if we can answer it, we will. And if we can't, we'll make something up. So a lot of this comes down to between measurements. A lot of it's measuring with the eye as well. A lot of this you end up doing by feel.
And sometimes being a perfectionist in this profession can be a pain in the butt.
Well, thank you, Ronald. Ronald says, I love the fact of keeping old school. Absolutely. I mean, we do use modern materials. We do use some modern tooling, but at the same time, I mean, I don't know how old this anvil is, but it's an original. The vise is original. A lot of our hammers and tongs are original.
I could use a rotary burr and proceed to try to do this, but I'm able to control the way I do it with just...
Absolutely.
Each of our items are handcrafted.
How much handcrafting depends on the item.
Yes.
But it's all handwork. So Cheyenne is, she's working on that stone bolster. See if I can zoom in on that some. And she's filing that out. And that little file gets a lot more work than what any little file really should.
I use this all the time.
And now that's going to be fit up to the copper blade. And the idea is to minimize the gap between the bolster and the blade, and once it's all glued up, because that's going to be glued into the handle using an epoxy resin, and it will be plenty strong for the application here. Cheyenne does another dry fit.
Okay. Oh, nice.
You're happy with this?
Yes.
Okay. So what is your next step of the process?
JB weld.
JB weld. Talk to the camera for a moment.
Okay. Actually, what I'm going to do before anything, I don't know if you guys see that. Itty bitty lip is longer than my bolster and my handle. So I'm going to go back over there. I'll take you guys back over there with me. But I want to kind of sink that part right there in a little bit more so that it starts flowing together. So I don't have a marker over here, so I'm going to use a mechanical pencil.
Actually, there's a marker over there by the files.
Oh, you're awesome. Thank you. That'll look fine just right there. So what bugs me is I could easily put this together, and I don't know if this is still zoomed in like no other. But the itty bitty spot is what was bugging the ever living crap out of me. So I'm going to take that off. It'll flow a lot better. The balance of the knife will be even better.
Everything's going to be better.
Yes.
All right.
That'll flow a lot better.
So you can see where she's leveling the transition between the handle and the ricasso of the blade.
Forgot to change that blood eyes. It slid right there. I was like, ooh.
Right. If you haven't subscribed yet, this is a great time to do so. So Cheyenne's going to start her glue up, which she'll have a little bit of time for this to set up. And while she's doing that, I'm going to switch that over to a 10-inch contact wheel. Actually, it might be that one.
That'll work just fine. Loud motorcycle.
Is this forged in fire? No, but Cheyenne was, as you can see in the picture over there, Cheyenne was featured on season 9, episode 5 of Forged in Fire, Blades Gone Wild. Myself, I was on season 4, episode 2
And
of Forged in Fire, and on season 1, episode 1 of Master of Arms. Forge Your Memory was started in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee by Forged in Fire fan favorite Robbie Bowman, who was on seasons 3 and 4, episodes 5 of Forged in Fire. And Cheyenne is making a forged copper knife with a dyed and stabilized deer bone handle, so more of a piece of functional art. Had an amateur sharpening question. I think I may have overheated a chisel. I was trying to rework a bevel on grinder. Is it possible to reheat, harden with just hot coals, vegetable oil dunk? Yes, it is. However, you do want to be cautious about that because you may need to temper that back and you may need to normalize it first. Is this a commissioned piece, Cheyenne?
No, it is not. This is actually just mess around in the shop fun.
So this is just a fun build for you.
Yes. A lot of my random pieces are weird and unusual. I do commission pieces, but usually whenever I do my weird and unusual ones, they sell just as fast as the commission ones.
Right. So fixing everything up. Okay, Cheyenne, do you make your own epoxy grips or buy them ready-made?
The epoxy grips,
The stabilized materials.
I make it myself. So I actually got into the dyeing and stabilizing of handle material through Ted Coons and James Davis. James Davis was doing a bunch of his handle material and he wound up finding a different profession. I actually had kind of the withdrawal of being able to utilize a beautiful material that has been stabilized and preserved into time pretty much. And I got into it myself. This is dyed and stabilized deer leg bone. The color was actually a bluish turquoise, and the fat of the bone decided to react and kind of give this watercolor effect. I actually have several scales that are available, and you check this out on Axon Maine towards your memory, and I believe the profile link is in the description. Check us out, and if you're interested in something, you're more than welcome to help you. Yeah, there, Ma. Oh, no problem, Dagu-kan. So, is it Dagu-kan or Dagu-kan? All right, Dustin. Tag you're it.
Okay, so what are you doing next?
I am going to check to see if it's set up, and then I'm going to flip it over.
Okay.
Well, not flip it. Yeah, I'm going to flip it over and check it out, and then I'm going to pour the resin.
Okay. I didn't know if you poured resin first or not.
No, I want to check the stability of it.
All right, hold on. Okay, so while Cheyenne's been working on her copper knife, I've been working on the handle of another Bowie knife, and it didn't take me too long so far. This is a dyed and stabilized bloodwood. It actually had some green added to it, which I don't think we're going to do again. We'll see when it gets oiled, but we'll see how it goes. Now, one thing you may notice here is that tang protrudes quite a bit, and I'm probably going to take a little over a 1/4 inch off of that. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and glue this down, and then I'm going to get ready to pour pewter that will backfill the inside of this handle. You can see how this is it was drilled round and then burnt rectangular like the tang. All of that's going to just hold everything together quite nicely in a very strong fashion. This is one of the Farrier's Rasp Bowie builds that we were working on yesterday, past couple days. And this is actually phosphoric acid finish on the guard. So I wanted to go for that primitive look, leaving that fish scale pattern on one side and then that double cut, almost like a snake skin on the other. And I always have admired Farrier's Rasp blades, so I decided I've got enough of them, let's make them up. All right, guys. So what I'm going to do, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to trim this while Cheyenne is getting ready to work on her piece. And then while she's doing that, which, Cheyenne, can you do your glue up over here by chance?
I'm just setting up.
Cheyenne's getting everything set up, and I'm going to help her get set up for her process here. Well, Mr. Phenome, thank you for subscribing, and we only recently hit 1,000 subscribers.
Yes.
So our visibility is increasing with each video. Thank you for subscribing. So Cheyenne's going to be working right here. There's a vise for her. She's going to be doing some epoxy mixing. I'm going to go ahead and set her up a little stool right there. Done on that, but I'm going to hop over on this.
I'm just presetting myself real quick.
The home shop, as it's called, the home shop is large enough. We had 3 or 4 people working in it at a time on different projects. And we often worked around each other. Now, in a smaller confine like this, we still work around each other.
We're used to it, though.
We
had a newspaper come in here, and she was flabbergasted because him and I were going through foraging while bouncing in between the power hammer and everything, and she was worried we were going to run into each other with a hot blade, and we're just used to it that I may need the other one. There's 2 open bottles. We'll use that. It'll take a minute for it to pour.
That's actually quite warm.
I had issues with that last time. I forgot my leather.
You forgot your what?
My leather?
Well, let me get you some leather. I actually grabbed it.
I should have a small piece of it. Right here.
Okay.
That'll work. So we use copper, crap, if I can speak. But we use leather in our vices with our blades just to make sure we're not causing everything. I know you guys are missing the fireworks right behind me. There, now you can watch us both. Cashmere sword?
Over here? That's actually a reverse falchion. So it's a lot like a sham shear, where a sham shear would have the edge on this side. This has the edge on the inside.
Dogu Khan, that's the one that you were watching a couple videos back with us.
But I will probably end up making a sham shear at some point.
Don't want to get epoxy over here, but it's so sticky right now. There. I recognize that you are in Brazil and about work, but I don't recognize if you other the others, but it seems positive, so thank you, Fernando. And yes, we are excited to. It was very, very exciting for us to be told that we're going to be doing another class in Turtle Island. So what I'm doing now is pouring into the cavity and avoiding any large bubbles that would form. Doing it this way, the reason why I'm not adding the pewter, though this is a method that we do with our pewter, is I want the natural grain of the bone to be able to kind of peek through.
If you haven't subscribed yet, it's a good time to do so. A lot of times we're doing a lot of hammering, a lot of grinding, and now we're doing a lot of
finish work.
Yeah, just a lot of finish work. And if you're in our area, you can stop by and watch some of our live videos, say hi. If you got questions, ask us questions. Hell, that don't cost anything.
Not at all. Okay, Bob, that is bad A. He does leather work for Dixie Gun Works and CNC Cutlery.
Oh, very cool, dude.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I don't claim to be a woodworker or a leather worker, either one. I do have to do some of it with what we do, but
high respect.
My hat's off to you. I'm quite bald and sweaty right now, but usually bald, not always sweaty. Excellent, good job, man.
Yeah.
Bob, where's Dixie Gun Works? Wait, is that in Tennessee? If so, you got to come out to the Forging Festival in October at Smoky Mountain Knife
That
Works
would
and
be
say,
fun.
hey.
And y'all already know what Dustin's doing. Oh, cool. Bob, whereabouts are you located? And this is already getting hot, so it's a ectothermic reaction. He says Dixie Gun Works is in Union, Tennessee.
Okay.
How far is that from Pigeon Forge? Oh, well dang. We're gonna be traveling from Illinois to Smoky Mountain Knife Works in October so that we can go to the Forging Festival there. One of the perks of what we do is we get to meet some amazing people and kind of spread the knowledge and word of what we do. Once it's cleaned up, that's gonna be a pretty little thing. Alright, Dustin, are you ready for me to turn them on you?
No, go ahead and keep going.
Okay. Well, I guess we're going to the grinder then. I know you guys are taller than me because I have a stool in the way. Ooh. Captain Bob, you may have to get a hold of me. I really want to see some of your work. So this is actually a single edge with a ricasso, dyed and stabilized deer bone with a reconstituted stone for the handle, or for the bolster. Now we're gonna do the fun part. Actually, I want the utility knife. Hold on. So I'm going to pull that access, or excess, or whatever. Because you know there's going to be some grammar people on here. Always are. I'm from Illinois, so that should say something. trying to remove the extra right there before taking it to the grinder. A little minimal work that you do right before doing the finishing, it can mean the world for your piece of art.
Piece of something. We've called them other things before.
Yes, we have. Yes, I do. I'd have to grab my phone to tell you my WhatsApp, though. Hold on one moment and I'll grab that. And I'll tell you. I don't think you would want to do chef knives out of actual copper. The edge retention is not the best with copper. It's more of an art piece.
Or primitive survival.
Yeah, or primitive survival. All right, Captain Bob. Let me pull this up. We're actually on Dustin's phone doing the live. What the heck am I doing? I am pulling up WhatsApp for a second. And it logged me out. Oh, I'm trying to cut a normal knife with the blade. Okay, so what I was doing was removing the excess JB weld from right there. Well, I guess if I can actually stop blocking what you guys are able to see, you'd be able to understand what I'm talking about. Bob, just get a hold of us through Facebook or Instagram, and we can go ahead and communicate that way, because there's
a link in the description to the Axle Main Forge and Memory page.
So get a hold of us on there.
And there's also a link to the Forge and Memory family page where we do in-depth builds. And that page was started by Robbie Bowman in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee at Iron Mountain Metalcraft.
All right, now I'm going to turn this on. What you thinking?
I'm just looking. Once you go get ready, shortly you set up a patio.
Yeah, shame where you guys are. So I made this knife from scratch. To be honest, I smelted the copper that the blade was forged from. I dyed and stabilized the burl. Or not burl, the deer leg bone. I do burl too, so I'm used to that, yeah. They had it.
Be sure to subscribe to the channel.
Do what? I couldn't hear you.
Be sure to subscribe to the channel.
Oh, yeah. Interrupting grinder. Well, Conway, we're doing pretty fine tonight. Now I'm going to be flipping this back over to a 120, sharpening it, and adding some Ren wax to it. And she'll be done. There you go. Bring you guys into the actual light instead of us hiding in the shadow. And there is a copper blade. Yes, it is sharp. I'm okay with this. And where I was pouring from, you can see that tiny area, but I was able to meld it in with that piece. So getting the natural flow of the material on top of having a survivalist blade. Now is the time to like and subscribe. We are going to be hopping off here. I'll catch you guys later. If I can do it now. Bye, guys.